What if a single, ancient understanding could unravel the very fabric of your perceived reality, leaving you fundamentally changed, not just informed but rebuilt from the ground up? This isn't about fleeting inspiration. It's about a shift so profound, the person you are now might seem like a stranger after truly grasping its depth. We navigate our lives burdened by anxieties, frustrations, and a persistent sense of separation. But what if these states are not inherent to existence, but symptoms of a deep misapprehension? A misapprehension that, once corrected, could unlock a state of profound peace and unwavering clarity, a perspective shared by sages and mystics across millennia who pointed towards this singular truth. Imagine seeing the intricate connections between all things, not as an abstract concept, but as a palpable truth. From the smallest particle to the grandest cosmic dance, a hidden unity binds everything. What if grasping this interconnectedness isn't just philosophical, but a practical key to dissolving personal suffering and unlocking immense inner freedom, a way out of the labyrinth of the isolated mind? Consider the possibility that your deepest fears and limitations are rooted in the illusion of being an isolated fragment in a hostile universe. What if this core belief, often unconscious, is the very source of your struggles? And what if there's a way to see beyond this illusion, to experience a connection so vast it redefines your very sense of self, transforming isolation into belonging? This journey isn't about adopting new beliefs, but about uncovering a truth already present, veiled by layers of conditioning. It's about a realization that, once it dawns, doesn't just change what you think, but how you experience life itself. The question is, are you prepared to encounter an idea that could permanently alter your perception of everything? The core of this transformative understanding lies in the concept of interconnectedness, not as a mere platitude, but as a fundamental description of reality. It suggests that the boundaries we perceive between ourselves and the world, between me and other, are far more porous and illusory than we commonly assume. This is not a new idea, but an ancient one, echoed across cultures. In ancient Greece, the Stoics spoke of sympatheia, a mutual interdependence of all parts of the cosmos. They saw the universe as a single, living organism, with each individual part contributing to the well-being of the whole. To live in accordance with nature for them meant recognizing this cosmic sympathy and our role within it. Across the globe, Buddhist philosophy offers the concept of prat-idyasamutpada, or dependent origination. This principle asserts that all phenomena arise in dependence upon other phenomena. If this exists, that exists. If this ceases to exist, that also ceases to exist. Nothing possesses an independent, inherent existence. It is a radical challenge to our everyday view of separate objects and beings. This deep understanding of interconnectedness leads directly to another profound Buddhist insight: anatta, or no self. If everything is dependently arisen and constantly changing, where is the fixed, permanent, independent self we so fiercely protect? Anatta suggests this solid self is an illusion, a construct of mind, not an ultimate reality. Indigenous traditions worldwide have long held a worldview deeply rooted in interconnectedness. They perceive the earth not as a resource to be exploited, but as a living relative, part of a sacred web of life that includes animals, plants, rivers, and mountains. This kinship implies a deep sense of responsibility and reciprocity. Even modern science, particularly quantum physics, hints at a universe far more interconnected than classical mechanics suggested. Phenomena like quantum entanglement, where particles remain connected and influence each other instantaneously regardless of distance, challenge our conventional notions of separation and locality, suggesting a deeper, undivided reality. Consider ecology, the study of how organisms interact with each other and their environment. It reveals complex ecosystems where every species, no matter how small, plays a vital role. The health of one is intrinsically linked to the health of all. A forest is not just a collection of trees, but a vast, communicating network. So, what does it truly mean to internalize this profound interconnectedness? It begins with a shift in self-perception. If the self is not a fixed, isolated entity, but a focal point within a larger web of relationships and influences, then the ego's desperate clinging and defensiveness begin to lose their urgency. This realization of no self, or a more fluid, interconnected self, is not a nihilistic void, but an opening to immense freedom. It frees us from the burden of maintaining a rigid, artificial identity. The energy once spent on self-preservation can be redirected towards experiencing life more fully and openly. When we deeply feel our connection to others, empathy and compassion arise naturally. Their suffering is, in a sense, our suffering, their joy, our joy. The illusion of separation is the root of much cruelty and indifference. Interconnectedness provides the foundation for a universal ethic of care and mutual respect. This understanding also profoundly impacts our relationship with control, aligning with the Stoic dichotomy of control. If we are part of a vast, interdependent system, the desire to control everything becomes evidently futile and a source of constant stress. We learn to focus our energy on what is within our influence, our responses, our intentions, our actions, and accept what is not. Letting go of the need for absolute control doesn't mean passivity. Instead, it fosters a more skillful engagement with life. We act not from a place of fear or egoic striving, but from a deeper alignment with the flow of existence, contributing our part to the whole without being attached to specific, rigid outcomes. The profound realization of interconnectedness is not merely an intellectual assent. It requires a shift in consciousness, a felt sense of this unity. This often comes through practices like meditation, mindfulness, deep contemplation of nature, or even moments of profound awe and wonder that temporarily dissolve the ego's boundaries. Consider the breath. Each breath connects us to the atmosphere shared by all living beings. It is a constant, tangible reminder of our interdependence. Paying attention to this simple act can be a gateway to experiencing a deeper connection with the web of life, a direct experience of our reliance on something beyond our skin. Spending time in nature, truly observing its cycles and interdependencies, can also awaken this sense. Watching a seed sprout, a river flow to the sea, or stars wheel across the night sky, these experiences can silence the chattering mind and reveal the underlying harmony and interconnectedness of all things. Acts of genuine kindness and service, performed without expectation of reward, can also erode the illusion of separation. When we help another, we often experience a sense of connection that transcends the individual ego. This is the lived experience of sympatheia, the feeling of shared humanity and interconnected fate. The transformative impact of deeply realizing interconnectedness is often described as a profound sense of peace. The anxieties born from feeling small, separate, and vulnerable in a hostile world begin to dissolve. There is a shift from fear to trust, from striving to flowing. Resilience in the face of adversity also increases. If one's identity is not solely tied to the fragile individual self, but to a larger, enduring web of existence, then personal setbacks and losses, while still painful, do not shatter one's core. There is a deeper ground of being to rest upon, a sense that life continues through us. A new sense of meaning and purpose can emerge. Instead of a self-centered pursuit of happiness, life becomes about contributing to the well-being of the whole, about playing one's unique part in the cosmic dance. This is not a burden, but a source of profound fulfillment and joy. This shift is not about losing individuality. Rather, it is about understanding that true individuality flourishes not in isolation, but in rich connection. Like a unique instrument in an orchestra, its distinct sound contributes to the beauty of the overall symphony. The self becomes a unique expression of the whole. The journey to this realization is often gradual, a slow unfolding rather than a single dramatic event for most. It requires patience, consistent inquiry, and a willingness to question our most deeply ingrained assumptions about ourselves and the world. It is a path of unlearning as much as learning. Old habits of thought, rooted in the illusion of separation, will inevitably arise. The practice then becomes about gently recognizing these patterns without judgment and returning, again and again, to the deeper truth of interconnectedness. It's a cultivation of a new way of seeing, a new way of being. This isn't about escaping the world or its challenges. Instead, it's about engaging with the world from a place of greater wisdom, compassion, and inner strength. It is about being fully human, yet anchored in an understanding that transcends the purely personal, recognizing the sacred in the mundane. When you perceive the world as an interconnected whole, your sense of responsibility naturally expands. Harm to any part of the web is, ultimately, harm to oneself. This fosters a profound ecological awareness and a desire to act in ways that support the flourishing of all life, not just human. The fear of death itself can be transformed by this understanding. If I am not a separate, isolated entity that will be extinguished, but rather a temporary manifestation of a larger, ongoing process of life, then death becomes less of an absolute ending and more of a transformation, a rejoining with the whole. This is not to diminish the grief of loss, but to place it within a larger context. The connections we form are real, and their apparent severance is painful. Yet, the underlying unity suggests that nothing is ever truly lost, only changed in form, reabsorbed into the great tapestry of existence. One of the most significant shifts is the alleviation of existential loneliness. The feeling of being alone in the universe gives way to a sense of profound belonging, of being an integral and cherished part of something vast, beautiful, and meaningful. You are never truly separate. You are a wave in the ocean of being. This wisdom challenges the hyper-individualism prevalent in many modern societies, which often fosters competition, isolation, and anxiety. It calls for a rebalancing, a renewed appreciation for community, cooperation, and the common good, understanding that our individual well-being is inseparable from the collective. Fully grasping this can lead to a decrease in judgment towards others. If we are all interconnected, all products of countless causes and conditions, then harsh judgment gives way to understanding and a desire to alleviate suffering rather than condemn. We see the shared humanity beneath the surface differences. It encourages a radical acceptance of what is, not in a passive, resigned way, but as a clear seeing of reality. Much of our suffering comes from resisting what is, wishing things were different. Interconnectedness shows us we are part of this isness, not separate from it, empowering us to act wisely within it. This profound insight doesn't require adherence to any specific dogma or religion, though it is found at the mystical heart of many. It is an experiential truth available to anyone willing to look deeply enough, to question the apparent solidity of the self and the world, and to open to a more inclusive reality. The you that begins this journey of understanding will not be the same you that fully integrates it. Layers of conditioned identity, fear-based beliefs, and the illusion of separation will gradually fall away, revealing a more authentic, compassionate, and liberated way of being. It is a return to a more natural state. This transformation is not about becoming perfect or superhuman. It's about becoming more fully human, more awake to the true nature of reality and our place within it. It involves embracing our vulnerabilities and imperfections from a place of greater self-acceptance and connection, rather than shame or isolation. As this understanding deepens, a natural simplicity may arise in one's life. The endless pursuit of external validation, material possessions beyond need, or fleeting pleasures loses its appeal. Contentment is found more readily in simple presence, meaningful connections, and contributing to the well-being of the interconnected web. The world itself may not change, but your experience of it transforms completely. Challenges become opportunities for growth, Interactions become chances for connection, and the everyday moments become imbued with a sense of sacredness and wonder. Life is no longer a battle to be won, but a dance to be participated in. This insight is not a quick fix, but a lifelong orientation, a continuous deepening. It's a compass that, once truly set, guides you towards greater peace, wisdom, and compassion, irrespective of external circumstances. It's a fundamental recalibration of your entire operating system. The great sages and mystics who spoke of this were not describing a utopian fantasy, but a lived reality accessible through dedicated inner work and a radical shift in perspective. They left maps and signposts, inviting us to undertake the same journey of discovery for ourselves, to find this truth within. Imagine the collective impact if more individuals awaken to this profound interconnectedness. How might our societies, our relationship with the planet, and our interactions with each other change? It offers a pathway not just for individual transformation, but for a more harmonious and sustainable world. This understanding doesn't negate the reality of individual experience or responsibility. Instead, it contextualizes it. We are both unique expressions and inseparable parts of the whole. Holding this paradox is key to navigating life with both personal integrity and a sense of universal belonging. So, the invitation is to look beyond the surface appearances, beyond the conditioned beliefs of separation, to inquire into the nature of self and reality with an open mind and a courageous heart. What might you discover if you truly entertain the possibility that everything is connected? Key takeaway 1. The illusion of separation is a primary source of suffering. Recognizing our profound interconnectedness with all existence, from the Stoic sympatheia to the Buddhist pratityasamutpada, begins to dissolve fear, anxiety, and loneliness, replacing them with a sense of belonging and peace. This is not mere theory, but a foundational aspect of reality. Key takeaway 2. Understanding interconnectedness redefines the self. The concept of a fixed, isolated ego gives way to anatta, or no self, a more fluid, interdependent identity. This shift liberates enormous energy, fosters natural compassion, and allows for a more authentic expression of individuality as part of a larger whole, not in opposition to it. Key takeaway 3. This realization has profound practical implications. It informs our ethics, guiding us towards compassionate action and responsible stewardship. It helps us embrace the dichotomy of control, focusing on skillful response rather than futile resistance, leading to greater resilience and a more meaningful engagement with life's challenges. To truly internalize this wisdom is to undergo a permanent paradigm shift. It's not about adding another piece of information, but about a fundamental change in the very ground of your being. The world is seen through new eyes, eyes that perceive the unity in diversity, the sacred in the ordinary, and the eternal dance of connection. If you were to fully live from this understanding, starting this moment, how would your thoughts, feelings, and actions change? What old burdens might you lay down? And what new possibilities for peace, connection, and purpose might open up before you? This is not just a question to ponder, but an invitation to live.